أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi amma ba'd. Before we begin, it's only befitting that I apologize to all of you brothers and sisters as well for our lateness. It was due to circumstances beyond our control. We planned and Allah planned, and Allah is the best of those who plan. But nonetheless, I ask Allah to put it all in your mizan of hasanat for your sabr waiting here. I see that we have a lot of young brothers who are here, little guys, and I think that it is important that they are here because the message of today is a far-reaching message. The Asian community suffers from the negative implications of blind following. Blind following. Like, for an example, my wife and I are Asians and we're cousins. So we have to marry each other. And before us, my father and my mother, they married each other and they were cousins. And before that, my grandmother, my grandfather, they were cousins and they married. And on and on and on and on. And that is permissible in the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla for a person to marry his cousin. That's permissible. But the problem is the blind following, where I'm forced and compelled to marry my cousin, when I'm not the most appropriate person to marry her, and she's not the most appropriate person to marry me. Our parents come and they insist that we have to marry one another, although they both have seen, and both of them have tasted, my parents, both of them have tasted the sourness of forced marriages. So this issue of blind following is an issue that is inside of the deen and it causes problems, and it's an issue outside of the deen that causes problems. So I think the presence of these young brothers is important, and we want them to understand the message that we're talking about At Taqleed, blind following inside of the deen, but it also extends outside of the religion in terms of the secular aspects of people's lives. Before dealing with the issue, inshallah, a few points that I would like to make. The point at the top of the list is that this issue of blind following is an issue that is scholastic. It's scholastic. It is an issue, a mas'ala, that has its dalil embedded in the Quran and the Sunnah. Problem with the people is that you have to understand it the way I understand it, or I don't like you. And that's a problem. Different masajid. There are masajid not too far away from here. Because I don't agree with aspects of the religion that they don't agree with, they hate me and I hate him. And it's a tragedy. It's a terrible state of affairs for the Muslims. Muslims in Iraq right now, Iraq right now, with all of the drama that's jumping off in Iraq, they are divided amongst themselves over these sectarian lines. Your Jama'at, your group, your Madhabs. And we stay on it as if we're Majnun, Muslims in Philistine, in Palestine, right now, they're fighting each other over these sectarian issues. This one is that, from that Jama'at, he's Ikhwan Muslimin, I'm Jama'at At Taqleed. This one is that, this one is this, he's Shafi and Ahmed. They even go to the Jews and tell the Jews, Muslims, go to the Jews and say, you see those people from that Jama'at or that Madhab, they're terrorists. And then the Jews go and arrest those people. This is how sick it is with the Muslims. And I don't have to tell you about the situation in Pakistan. I don't have to tell you the bombs that go off all the time. Muslims can't come and solve their problems. And these issues that confront us are scholastic issues The book of Allah is there. Allah Ta'ala mentioned so many ayahs in the Quran. وَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. If you have any ikhtilaf, if you disagree about anything, if you're a real Muslim, then refer back to the Quran and the Sunnah. Don't refer back to a Kalashnikov. Don't refer back to a bomb. Don't refer back to just hating people, lying on people. There are people in this city right now that actually believe others hate Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't believe in the permissibility of celebrating the Prophet's birth. And that's because you're not going to be able to show me that in the Quran or the Sunnah. So I don't believe it. Because I don't believe it, there are those people who believe that I hate the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when they see me, they bite their nails and hope for my demise and the demise of my children. If I were to die, they would clap hands. What kind of religion is that? So this issue is an issue that is scholastic. It's a mas'ala ilmiya, has knowledge. Hatu burhanakum kuntum sadiqeen. That's what Allah told the Yahud and the Nasara in the Quran. Bring your proofs if you're telling the truth. The Jews said they are the people of Allah. They will only be in the hellfire for a few numbers of days. That Allah Ta'ala loves them more than everyone else. They said that they are the sons and the beloved of Allah. The Nasara Christians say Isa is the son of Allah. Allah Ta'ala used to challenge them in the Quran. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Bring your proofs if what you're saying is true. Don't hurl abuses on us, the Muslims. Don't make accusations like little children in the playground. When a thing doesn't go your way, you don't have any other proof. All you do is say, give me my ball. Give me my ball. I'm leaving. Give me my ball. And it's his ball, so he walks off of the court. He walks off of the pitch like a little child. Bring your dalil. This issue is an issue of knowledge. It's scholastic. And since it is a scholastic issue, I'm going to be fair and just and tell you right from the beginning. There are legitimate, bona fide scholars who said that you have to make taqleed. Bona fide scholars. So if you have someone or you know someone who's saying you must make taqleed, don't say that he's a deviant. Don't say that he came with something new in the religion. There are people who are bigger than him who made that claim. And on the other end of the spectrum are scholars who said you don't have to make taqleed. And it's not permissible to make taqleed. There's a middle course. And this is what I want to share with you. My position is stay away from the extremes. We pray every single day, 17 rakat at least. We ask Allah Ta'ala, the Rabbil Alameen, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. The Sirat al-Mustaqim is the middle course. Make me a person who, when I hate, I don't go overboard in my hate. When I love, I don't go overboard in my love. That's the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Make me a person who I worship, but I don't worship all day, all the time. When I work, but I don't work all day, all the time. Just be in balance. Just be in balance. So this issue, it has its two extremes. One extreme is the extreme of the person who says, Wallahi, you have to make taqleed. You must make taqleed. And if you don't make taqleed, you're not practicing Islam correctly. That's an extreme. Because he doesn't have any clear dalil. He doesn't have the example of the companions doing that and saying that, radiyallahu anhu. Extreme. The other extreme is the guy who comes and says, taqleed, no one makes taqleed. The farmer in Kashmir, in Mirpur, Azad Kashmir right now, he's walking behind his oxen and he's plowing the land. He can't make taqleed. He has to be a mujtahid. That's extreme. That's extreme. Because everybody in this room, without any exception, and Allahu Alam, from the ends, from Bani Adam, everyone in this building is going to make taqleed in something. What is not permissible to make taqleed in is what you have the ability to comprehend. What is permissible to make taqleed in is what is bigger than you. It's an issue that's above you. It's an issue above Abu Usamah and above Abu Bilal and above Faisal and so on and so on. This issue is too big. So I'm going to follow what Allah Ta'ala commanded me to follow in the Quran. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who know if you don't know. Well, this issue is too big for me. So I'm going to just blindly follow because I don't have the alat and the apparatuses, scholastic apparatuses, knowledge to get to the bottom of this. So I choose this scholar who I respect, I honor, I believe in him, and I follow him. Everyone's going to do that to a certain degree. But when the dalil comes to you and you're educated, you are educated, and it's clear that the Prophet said, this is the Sunnah and this is the religion, and you turn around and say, no, Abu Hanifa said, no, Abu Usamah said, no, the Imam of my masjid said. Now this is the problem. This is the taqleed that is not permissible. Second issue, Ikhwani, that I want to bring to your attention, inshallah ta'ala, is the fact that all of the scholars, there's some scholars say you have to make taqleed. Some said you can't make taqleed. It's haram. In every case scenario, it's haram. They have ikhtilaf about that. Second point is that the scholars are unanimously agreed that it is not permissible for Muslims to hate and to love based upon this issue. I say you must make taqleed, and the other says you can't make taqleed, and we hate and we fight each other over that. I don't pray behind him, he don't pray behind me. I say that he's an innovator, he says that I'm an innovator. I say that he hates Islam, he says that I hate Islam. So the scholars have ikhtilaf. Some of them, there's ikhtilaf. Some says, yes, you have to do taqleed. Others say, no, you can't do taqleed. And then the third group is in the middle. You have to do taqleed when you don't have the ability to figure the situation out. So it's an issue of ikhtilaf. All of the ulama agree, all of them agree that it's not permissible for me to love you based upon your position in this issue. For me to hate you based upon this position in your religion. There are certain people who claim a connection to Islam. Just one example are the people who curse the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. There are some people in Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh. They say that Abu Bakr and Umar were homosexuals. They say that the Quran is incomplete. They say that Aisha radiyallahu anha used to commit zina multiple times. You have a religious obligation to take a position against that person, to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, if you don't change that course of thinking, then you're an enemy to me. Just as if he said that about your biological mother. Someone came and said, your mother is this, your mother who gave you birth. You're going to draw a line in the sand. Some of us won't even waste time drawing a line. We're just going to jump on them. You said that, what about my mother? You're going to jump on them. Someone says about the companions that they were kuffar and they apostated after the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except 6 or 5 of them. We have to draw a line in the sand and say, this issue right here, I'm not playing with you. I'm not smiling with you. I'm not making you feel like everything is cookie crunch between you and me. You are an enemy to me. You better know that. I'm going to let you know that from Jump Street, right out the door. But on this issue, taqleed, some say yes, some say no, some take the middle course. The scholars of Islam are unanimously agreed that this is not an issue that allows Muslims to love based upon it, to hate based upon it. It's something that's not permissible. Those are the first 2 points that I wanted to mention. The third point before getting to the issue is, I don't believe that taqleed is wajib, Abu Usamah. I don't believe it's wajib. Just like that, open-ended. Nor do I believe that it is haram, open-ended. I believe that taqleed becomes an obligation when you don't know, when the issue is bigger than you. Some issue comes to you and you don't have the ability to weigh the proofs, the pros and the cons, the statements and positions of the ulama. It's too much for you. It's overwhelming for you, man or woman. So you look in the scales of who's out there. Al-Imam al-Bukhari, Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, Al-Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, Al-Imam or Shaykh Ibn Baz, for an example. And you say, okay, I'm going to follow what the Shaykh said in this particular issue. But because I'm making taqleed, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and I'm not going to argue. Because at taqleed, ikhwani, pay attention. The meaning of a taqleed the meaning, the definition of it is taking someone else's position and you don't know his dalil. You don't know why. You took the position because you didn't know. So because you don't know and you're just blindly following someone, ask the person with knowledge. If you don't know, okay, I'm asking him. It's too big for me. Is it permissible, Abu Usamah, for someone to come after his death and to take his lungs out and put it in another body? That's a big issue. On one hand, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, Kasuru, admin made, kakasri wa huwa hayy. Breaking a dead person's bone when he's dead is like breaking it when he's alive. So, if a person is dead, he has sanctity. You can't just step on his grave. The Nabi used to walk through the graveyard without his shoes. He told his people, take off your shoes. Not all the time, but one of the reasons he told them to take the shoes off, out of respect for the dead people. He said, La tajlisu al-qubur. Don't sit on the dead people's grave. They have sanctity. Sanctity. And I think most of you know the hadith of the man who told his sons, he was about to die. He said, if I die, I want you to take my body. I want you to burn my body. Once it becomes ashes, take the ashes, spread them in the sea, spread them in the air, spread them on land. Because if Allah has the ability to bring me back together, He's going to punish me a punishment He never punished anyone else before. And then when he died, his sons did that. Allah brought him back together and said, why did you do that? He said, I was afraid of you. I was afraid of you. And Allah Ta'ala forgave him. His crime that he used to commit, he used to go at night time and used to dig up the dead people and then take the thing that they were buried out and wash it and sell it. He himself knew that was sacrilegious. So the point is, Abu Usamah, what's the ruling of a person donating his lungs and so forth, so after his death? Well, those hadiths suggest that his body does not belong to him. He can't donate his body. He can't do that. But then there are other ayat of the Quran and hadith. وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. Anyone who gives life to someone will be like he gave life to the whole mankind. So I have two proofs. I don't know. I'm just going to blindly follow what this sheikh said because I don't know. So the point here is, the third point is, I'm of the opinion that you can't blindly follow open-ended, and blindly following is something that is done by the person who doesn't know. He's overwhelmed by the proofs. But if blind following was permissible open-ended, then I'm not sitting before you trying to fight something against the religion. Allah Ta'ala told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to tell those kuffar Quraysh, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدْ فَأَنَا أَوَّلْ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Tell them, Ya Muhammad, فَأَنَا أَوَّلُ الْعَابِدِينَ. Jazakallah khair. Allah Ta'ala told the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell them, Ya Muhammad, if Allah ar-Rahman had a son, then I, Muhammad, I'm going to be the first one who worships that son. The Nabi didn't tell the Christians, this is shirk and dalala, just to be against khayr. If you can prove that Allah has a son, I'm going to be the first of those people who worship that son. If At Taqleed, open-ended, was from the religion, I'm going to be the first one to do it. Before you guys, I'm going to precede you to it. So don't look at me as a person who's sitting here trying to shove something down your throat and trying to be against some aspect of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are quite a number of proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah, a lot, that show that a Muslim is responsible when the truth comes to him and he has the ability to recognize that truth for what it is. He has to take that truth irregardless of who is doing it or who's not doing it. The truth comes to him and is very clear, but his imam or his sheikh or someone that he's respecting is saying something opposite of that truth, and he second guesses himself and says, well, the sheikh didn't say it, the sheikh didn't do it, so therefore I'm going to stick with my position. There are a number of ayat of the Quran that goes to show the problem of a taqleed, this type of blind following, that show this is a practice of the mushrikeen, this is a practice of the munafiqeen, this is a practice of Ahlul Kitab. It's not a practice of people of Al-Islam, unless the people of Al-Islam, they don't know the answer. So he just blindly follows the one who is in front of him. Allah Ta'ala mentioned what happened to Ahlul Kitab. For an example, وَاتَّخَذُوا أَحْبَارَهُمْ وَرُهْبَانَهُمْ أَرْبَابًا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. In Surah At-Tawbah, Allah Ta'ala described what happened to the Jews and the Christians. He said they took their priests and their monks as lords along with Allah. There was a man who lived during the time of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. His name was Hatim ibn Ta'i, Hatim al-Ta'i. His father was an important personality in Jahiliyyah. His sister and him became Christians. And then they came to the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he started giving them dawah. And then the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam read this ayat to him and said to him, you people, you worship your priests and you worship your monks, your shuyukh and your ulama. You made them gods along with Allah, lords along with Allah. And then he read that ayat. They took their lords, their monks and their priests as arbab min dunillah, gods, lords other than Allah. The man said, la, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. And he had accepted Islam from the dawah of the Nabi. He said, we didn't do that. We didn't make sajda to them. We didn't make ruku, prostration, and we didn't bow down to them. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him, no, I'm not talking about that. Didn't they make halal what Allah made haram? And they made haram what Allah made halal? They say, yes, they did that. And didn't you follow them in that? You knew it was haram. Proof came to you it was haram. Proof came to you it was halal. The opposite of what your monks and priests were saying. You followed them? He said, yes, that happened. He said, tilka ibadatukum iyyahum. That was your worship of those people. When the proofs came to you and you continued to follow them and those things that were impermissible, that was your ibadah to those individuals. Why would Allah reveal that ayat to us? So that we can read that like a story, Rumpelstiltskin, Goldilocks and the seven dwarfs. That story is there so that the Muslim will know, don't be like that. Don't take your monks, your shuyukh, your ulama, and your teachers as lords along with Allah. Meaning, when they make a mistake, and it's clear that they made a mistake, it is crystal clear. Don't make excuses. Just say, with all due respect to the imam, to the sheikh, to the alim, even if he's one of the sheikhs of the madhabs, with all due respect, I believe he got it wrong in that issue and I'm going to do the second thing or the other thing, the alternative thing. Another proof is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned what he commanded with in the Quran when he said, and he commanded us with this, Ittibaa ma unzila ilaykum min rabbikum. Follow what was revealed to you by your Lord, what came to you from your Lord. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ قَلِيلًا مَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Follow what was revealed to you by your Lord, the Quran and the Sunnah. Now there's some young people in here who may be thinking wrongly that only the Quran came from Allah Azza wa Jal. The Quran and the Sunnah came from Allah Azza wa Jal. The Prophet said in authentic hadith sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَلَا إِنِّي أُوتِيتُ الْقُرْآنَ وَمِثْلُهُ مَعَهُ. I've been given the Quran and what is similar to it. The companions and the ulama after the companions, they used to believe, they used to say, Jibril came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the Sunnah the same way he came to the Nabi with the Quran. There are differences between the two. Now is not that discussion. But the point is, Allah Ta'ala mentioned all of those ayahs of the Quran. وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever the Rasul gives you, take it. Whatever he told you not to do, leave it. If you gave a man this Quran and you said, okay, you go and live on that mountain over there or that island over there with the Quran, and he knows all of the qira'at, the 10 qira'at, he knows them. If you ask that man, hey, read the next ayah, then follow an ayah that comes after the last place in the Quran where Allah says, Inna Allah ghafurur rahim. What's the next ayah? The last place, because that's mentioned many times in the Quran. The last ayah where Allah says, Inna Allah ghafurur rahim, I want you to read that. That man has the ability to read, to pick up that ayah. That's how prolific and knowledgeable he is with the issue. If you put him on an island by himself, and you put another man on an island with the Sunnah, the authentic Sunnah, all of the Sunnah, the man who's on the island with the Sunnah is going to practice Islam better than the one who's on the island with the Quran. Because that guy over there, he's not going to know how to pray, the 5 prayers. He's not going to know how to pray. He's not going to know how to do Ramadan. He's not going to do Taraweeh. He's not going to know how to do Hajj. He's even going to marry women who are haram for him. Because some of the women who you can't marry are in the Sunnah and not in the Quran. He's going to be what? He's going to be naqis, deficient. I just give you that example so that you can comprehend what I'm saying. As for the Quran and the Sunnah, they have to be together. So those people who say, for you young brothers, I only take the Quran, that's it. You're from the most lying, they're from the most lying of the people. The Quraniyun. You can't practice Islam without the Quran and the Sunnah. Anyway, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in this particular ayat, follow what has been revealed to you from your Lord, the Quran and the Sunnah, and don't follow the awliya. Don't follow. Allah said in the Quran, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا أَوْلِيَاءَ. Don't follow the awliya. Al-Imam Al-Shafi, Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, Al-Imam Malik, Al-Imam Ahmed. I believe those people from the awliya of Allah. I believe that. And Allah knows best. Allahu A'lam. But I believe that the ulama who had a lot of knowledge. But the Quran said, follow what Allah revealed and don't follow human beings. Follow the human being when the human being is following what Allah revealed. If the human being is not following what Allah revealed, then don't follow him. So that is an ayat of the Quran that shows the impermissibility of following people indiscriminately, unconditionally. No matter what he says, I'm going to follow. Another example, Ikhwani, of the ayat of the Quran that show the evil of blindly following is what Allah revealed in Surah Al-Baqarah. He said, إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ اتُّبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا وَرَأُوا الْعَذَابَ وَتَقَطَّعَتْ بِهُمْ أَسْبَابًا وقال الذين اتبعوا لو أن لنا كرة فنتبرع منهم كما تبروا منا حسرات عليهم وكذلك يريهم الله أعمالهم حسرات عليهم ما هم بخارجين من النار يوم القيامة. Those people who were followed, Allah said, those people who were followed are going to free themselves from those people who followed them. The ones who were followed, they're going to free themselves from those people who followed them. And the ones who did the following are going to say, oh, how we wish on this day we can go back to the world to free ourselves from them the way they just freed themselves from us. And Allah shows them their deeds, hasaratin alayhim. Their deeds are going to come as a cause of sorrow for them, and they won't come out of the hellfire. Blindly following is a mushkila. It's a big problem. Blindly following when you have the ability not to blindly follow. The mas'ala raf'ul yadayn. I'm a new Muslim, Abu Usamah, new Muslim. I come to Islam. I see that this is an issue that has ikhtilaf in it. Some people say do it, some people say don't do it. And when I became a Muslim, I was exposed to Asian people, Pakistanis, they're in America. They brought me the stuff. I had to pray the way they prayed. I don't know what's going on. I'm a brand spanking new Muslim. So I'm going to do what they taught me to do. I don't have any choice. The new Muslim, when he's praying, he's just going to do what people are doing next to him. Sometimes it even feels a bit strange. You even feel dumb, stupid. You're just following people. It's a feeling that it's not even right. When I used to pray, I used to say, man, I feel stupid just following these dudes, what they doing like that. As time went on, they gave me a book. I started reading what I have to say. Before I stand up, I have to say, نويت أن أصلي هذه الصلاة خلف هذا الإمام. I used to have to do my niyyah and all of this. As time went on, I started reading other sources. And I started seeing, there's no hadith that told me to do that. But instead, there are hadith that are authentic that told me to do this and do that. And these people who they're telling me to respect, like Al-Imam al-Bukhari. Al-Imam al-Bukhari wrote a book about Raf'ul Yadayn. So why aren't they doing Raf'ul Yadayn? Why are they not doing it? As time came up, started going on, I started to wait. And that was an issue that was clear that the Nabi used to do it, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Clear, like the sun in the sky. But the person says, I'm not going to do it. Why? Because that's not my madhab. Because that's not the way they taught me to pray when I first became a Muslim. No, it's the responsibility of the Muslim to follow the proofs when they come to him, if he has the ability. If he doesn't have the ability, he can't say, I'm a mujtahid. Doesn't have the ability. And if he has the ability, he can't take the other extreme, and the other extreme is the Imam must have known. Who told you that the Imam must have known? Who told you that? Before I read to you, brothers, some more hadith and ayat, listen to this. Everybody here, I'm talking about the shortest shorty in here from the brothers and the girls. The shortest kid knows. The best of this ummah is Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu anhu. The Prophet used to always say, I believe and Abu Bakr and Umar believe. I came and Abu Bakr and Umar came. I went and Abu Bakr and Umar went. When Tamim al-Dari saw the Dajjal, Tamim al-Dari used to be a Christian, he became a Muslim. The Nabi told the people about the Dajjal. Those people who were with Tamim al-Dari radiallahu anhu, they became shipwrecked. And when they were trying to fix their boat, they went on the land. And they went and they saw the Dajjal tied up. And he spoke to the Dajjal. And the Dajjal spoke to them and asked them a number of questions. Told them, I'm coming out soon. It was a sign that made them afraid. When they left that place and they went back to Medina, Tamim al-Dari told the Nabi about the story. Something that the Nabi told the people about previously, about a Dajjal. Now one of his companions actually saw the situation. The Nabi told someone, make the adhan. He made the adhan, which was the sign, come to the masjid. When they came to the masjid, the Nabi told Tamim, tell them the story. Tamim al-Dari told them the story about what happened. He saw the Dajjal and he was tied up in chains. And he said, I'm coming out soon. And that man Muhammad is saying the truth. You better follow him. After he finished the story, this is the point. The Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, I believe in what he said. And Abu Bakr and Umar believes in what he said. The Nabi used to always say that. Abu Bakr and Umar, Abu Bakr and Umar. He would tell the people, nobody come and see me. I don't want to see anybody. When he was thinking about divorcing his wife. Nobody knock on my door. First person who came and knocked on his door, Abu Bakr, come in. Second person, Umar, come in. They had a green light to come to him at all times. Now this is the point. Listen to this. The Imam must have known. The Imam must have known. I know it's saying this and it seems clear, but it seems clear to me, but the Imam must have. Who told you that? Point I want to share with you. The companion from the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. He's from the ulama of the Muslims. He went to the house of Umar, and Umar was the Amir al-Mu'mineen at that time. Knocked on the door, no one came. Knocked on the door second time, no one came. Knocked on the door the third time, no one came, and left. When Umar finally came to the door, he saw that it was Abu Musa going away. He let him go. Later on in the day, he saw him. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, you came to my house, you knocked 3 times, and then you left. Why did you leave? He said, because I heard the Prophet say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذَا اسْتَأْذَنَ أَحَدُكُمْ ثَلَاثًا فَلَنْ يُفْتَحْ لَهُ أَوْ لَنْ يُؤْذَنْ لَهُ فَلْيَنْصَرَفْ. If one of you knocks 3 times, and the door is not open, then go away. Umar never heard that hadith. He said, hey, if you don't bring someone to collaborate and to prove that they heard that from the Nabi, I'm going to deal with you. I'm going to hit you over your head with this stick. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anhu went to the masjid in Al-Medina. When he came into the masjid, he saw the Ansar sitting like all of you brothers are sitting amongst themselves. They looked at him when he came in, they said, what's the matter? You look like something happened. He told them the story. They started laughing. They started smiling. Not ridiculing him. They thought it was amusing what happened. They started smiling. They said, Wallahi, we all heard this hadith of the Nabi. All of us heard that hadith. And even the youngest from amongst us, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. He was a young man. and he grew up to be from the ulama of the companions. They said, we're going to send with you to the Amir al-Mu'mineen, this young boy, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, this young kid. Not to mention the other people from the Ansar of al-Medina. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri went with Abu Musa al-Ash'ari to the Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar radiallahu anhu, and say, yes, Amir al-Mu'mineen, I heard the Nabi say this, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So now the question is, the Sheikh must have known, the question is, the simple question, and you guys are intelligent, how many times did Umar come to knock on the door of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? How many times was Umar in the house of the Nabi and someone came and knocked on the door? How many times did Umar radiallahu anhu sit with the other companions? He was the Khalifa. That means 3 years. Abu Bakr, 2 years, 2.5, 3 years. Abu Bakr was the Khalifa. And Umar never knew this hadith, never knew this sunnah. And then when it came that day, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he put it to the test. Umar didn't know. Something as easy and as simple as that. And that's why Imam Malik, when the Khalifa during his time, his name was Mansur. Imam Malik, the Khalifa during his time, one of them was Mansur. Mansur said to Imam Malik, I'm going to make your hadith book and Muwatta, I'm going to make it the Dastur. I'm going to make it the main book for the Muslim empire. And Imam Malik said, don't do that, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, because there's not a single person except some of the Sunnah has passed him by. You young brothers, you have to get rid of this idea. And Imam Abu Hanifa knew everything. It's not true. That's not true at all. No human being knows everything about the deen except one person, and that is who? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Everybody else. And Imam Malik was teaching his students. He pointed to the grave of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And those of you who have been to Medina, you know where his grave is. He used to teach close to the Rawda. And Imam Malik, he said, everybody's statements, every human being's statements are accepted or rejected, except the person who's in that grave. And he pointed to the grave of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Abu Bakr, his statements are accepted or rejected based upon the proofs. Umar, Uthman, Ali, and everybody other than them. From the Adillah, from the Kitab, and from the Sunnah of the Nabi, and I really need you people to really focus with me on this. At Taqleed, just like that, is from the Asul of al-Jahiliyyah. It's from the foundations of Jahiliyyah. What Jahiliyyah was built upon. Jahiliyyah before the Nabi came. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Blind following is from the foundations, like in Islam, the 5 pillars of al-Islam, the 6 pillars of al-Iman. Jahiliyyah before al-Islam. Jahiliyyah. One of the pillars of Jahiliyyah, blind following. That's what Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab said in his book Kashf al-Shubahat. Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Some people hear that name, they say, Wahhabi, you Wahhabi. If you would ask them, tell me something you know about Al-Imam Muhammad Abdul Wahhab. He doesn't know anything. He's just blindly following. What's blind following? Taking someone else's opinion and you don't know why. Taqlid is when you take a horse or a cow, you put in his nose a ring and you just pull him and he goes like that. He doesn't know where you, even if you pull him off of the cliff, he's going to follow you. He's not going to ask you, yo, where you going? Yo, hold on, I got a different idea, I got a different point of view. He just goes with them. You don't want to be like that. That's what they call a qala'id, the taqleed. When you do the animal, qalidhu, tie him up, and he's just going to go with you. The Muslim can't be like that. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. You guys have to read about Abdullah ibn Mas'ud as much as you can, because the Nabi said if Abdullah ibn Mas'ud comes to you with something, take what he says. He was a companion that after the death of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to Kufa, and the Prophet told this community, his companions and us, he told us a lot of fitna is going to be in Kufa. وَصَدَقَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Look at all the fitna in Iraq. Wallahi Muhammad Rasulullah. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was in that area. He saw the Khawarij, he saw the Qadariyah, he saw the Shiite, he saw the fighting between the Muslims. So whenever you find these statements of Ibn Mas'ud, especially in the true minhaj, you'll find him making more statements than any other companion, because he was in the midst of the fitna. He told us, لا تكونوا إمعا إذا أحسن الناس أحسنت وإن أساء الناس أسأت ولكن تفطنوا إذا أحسن الناس أحسن معهم وإذا أساءوا فلا تحسن معهم. He said, Ibn Mas'ud, don't be a copycat. Don't be a copycat. If the people do good, you do good. If the people do bad, you do bad. But be a person who weighs the situation. If the people do good with them. If they do bad, don't do bad with them. That's the Muslim. Because those people who are followed are going to free themselves from those who followed them. And those who did the following are going to say, we want to go back and get another chance, and we'll free ourselves from them the way they free themselves from us. Be too late at that time. Don't make taqleed like that when you don't have the ability. When you have the ability to distinguish. Anyway, At Taqleed, Ikhwani, is from the pillars of al-Jahiliyyah. When the prophets and messengers came to their people and they said to their people, Qulu la ilaha illallah, the people said no. When they were asked, why do you say no? They say, this is not what our fathers used to do. The uncle of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abu Talib, he used to protect the Nabi. He was a mushrik, he was a kafir, but he used to tell Quraysh, anybody touch my nephew, I'm going to deal with you. He was about to die. The Nabi came to him and said, oh uncle, just say la ilaha illallah. If you say it, I'm going to argue with it for you, Yawm al-Qiyamah. He didn't make any salah. He didn't make any hajj. He didn't make any zakat. Nothing. Just say la ilaha illallah. You're going to go to Jannah. He looked around at Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl and the rest of them. He said, la, I'm going to die on the religion of my fathers. At Taqleed is from the pillars that Jahiliyyah was built upon and predicated upon. Even worse than that. Although there's nothing worse than shirk. But for some reason, our ummah, we look at other actions as being greater than shirk. They followed their fathers and rejected the prophets and the messengers, and they remained in shirk, the biggest crime, for no other reason other than that's what my father used to do. But I'll give you another example. Everybody knows the ayat in Surah Al-Nahl. Allah Ta'ala mentioned, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ يَتَوَارَى مِنَ الْقَوْمِ مِنْ سُوءِ مَا بُشِّرَ بِهِ أَيُمْسِكُهُ عَلَى هُونٍ أَمْ يَدُسُّهُ فِي التُّرَابِ أَلَا سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Listen to this. When one of them is given the news that his wife gave birth to a daughter, his face becomes black and darkened with shame and sorrow. He's ashamed that he had a baby girl. He starts to hide from the people, and he starts to avoid his friends out of embarrassment that he had a baby girl. And he starts to ponder and he thinks, should I keep her alive and be down and disrespected, or should I bury her in the dirt? Allah said, Allah sa'a ma yahkumun. What a terrible decision they decide to make. They used to bury her in the dirt. Now listen to this. Those of you who have daughters, just imagine when your daughter was born, your little baby, your baby girl was born. She has eyes like a dove. She has nice hair. When you give her the tahniq for the thumb of the dates after 7 days, or after she's born and you give her the dates, she be doing like this. And you be like, mashallah, man, that girl's pretty. She's the apple of your eye. Just imagine your brothers, your father, your wife's father, all of the men in the society, your friends come to you and say, yo, you gotta bury that thing. You gotta put her in the dirt and bury her alive. Or throw her out in the desert and let the wolves and hyenas eat her and tear her apart. You're going to say, man, is you crazy for saying something like that? You're out of your mind. Quraysh, that's what they used to do. If you go and you ask Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, why did you bury your daughter alive? the answer is going to be, that's what I found my fathers doing. That's what my fathers used to do, and that's why I'm doing. Just imagine that mentality. Imagine that mentality. And the Asian community is not far from that, where we socially bury our daughters. In Africa, East Africa, Muslims who come from Sudan, Muslims who come from Egypt, Muslims who come from Eritrea, Muslims who come from Ethiopia, in East Africa and other parts, Muslims in Yemen, they give the girl a circumcision, where they cut her parts out and take them out and sew it up. You can't put a, she can barely urinate. If you ask them, why do you do that? Why do you do that? They say, this is what my fathers used to do. Taqlid. Why are you forcing your son to marry your niece? Why are you this is what we used to do. Yeah, but he speaks English and he doesn't speak Urdu or Mirpuri very well, and she only speaks Mirpuri and she doesn't speak English at all. Why do you do it? It's something that we have to do. It's Taqlid. It's Taqlid. From what shows us the impermissibility and the danger of At Taqleed is what the Nabi says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahih Bukhari, what was collected on the authority of Abu Huraira. The Nabi says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لو آمن بي عشرة من اليهود لآمن بي اليهود. He said, if 10 people from the Jews believed in me, then all of the Jews would have believed in me, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sahih Bukhari. If 10 people from the Jews believed in me, then all of the Jews would have believed in me. It is a historical fact. Those who want to read about the companions, there are many books that were written. Who are the companions? Many books. Clearly the Nabi had more than, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 10 Jews who believed in him. Way more than 10. His wife, Safiya bint Huyay, was a Jew. He had more than 10. Many of them believed. But what does this hadith mean? The scholar who gave the explanation, interpretation of the hadith of Sahih Bukhari, his name is Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. He said the meaning of the hadith, when you gather up the different narrations of this hadith in Bukhari and other than Bukhari, is talking about if 10 of the ulama of the Yahud believed in me, then all of the Yahud would have believed in me, because the Yahud blindly follow their ulama. They blindly follow their scholars. It is a way of the Jews. It is a way of the Jews. Why do we not find many Jewish people becoming Muslims? We found some, but why don't we find a lot of them? We find a lot of Christians becoming Muslims, not a lot of Jews. The Jews, in their religion, they have to leave it up to the rabbi to explain to them the Torah. And they have another book called the Talmud. The Torah that they believe was revealed to Musa, which it wasn't, it was tampered with and contaminated. The ulama of the Yahud came and wrote another book, which is called the Talmud, which is the explanation of the Torah. They hardly ever read the Torah. Hardly ever read it. The book that the Jew is connected to is the Talmud. And the Talmud is what? The tafsir of the Torah according to their ulama. And they teach their people this. You have to be connected to the scholar. You have to be connected to this guy. So from their way, from their sunnah, is to blindly follow those who have been put in positions of authority over them. Just to move ahead at 20, because there are quite a few other ayat and ahadith, I want to just give you some examples concerning the companions radiallahu anhu. Pay attention, guys. The only Islam that Allah is going to accept Yawm al-Qiyamah, I'm telling you this without biting my tongue for anyone, Allah is not going to accept the Islam of Jamaat Tabligh, Ikhwan Muslimin, Sufi, Shiite. Allah is not going to accept the Islam of Brahwis, Deobandis. The only Islam that Allah will accept Yawm al-Qiyamah by the Lord of the Kaaba is the Islam of the people who are doing what the companions did. If the companions came together and they made the dhikr of Allah, 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 and you do that, then Allah will accept it from you. But if they didn't do that and you're doing that, Allah is not going to accept that from you. I don't care. You jump up and down, you get upset. The only Islam that Allah is going to accept from you is if your Islam is similar to what Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali was doing. Now I can take ayats from this Quran and I can bend them to mean whatever I want them to mean. I can show how black people are in the Jannah and everybody else is in the hellfire. I can show you that with this Quran. But the question is, did Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali understand that ayat the same way? Now, during the time of the companions, it did not exist where the companions took the position of one person from amongst them, no matter what he said. It didn't happen. They only followed what Abu Bakr said. They only followed what Umar said. They didn't happen. That alone goes to show that this is an innovation and something that should be abandoned. And I can give you many examples, but I'll only give you 2 or 3 here today, inshallah. After the death of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he died. For those who don't believe that he died, there are people going to come Yawm al-Qiyamah, they live right now, and they say the Nabi didn't die. He didn't die. After the death of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they shrouded him, they washed him, the salat was prayed over him, he was buried. And now he's in his grave. Time to now in the barzakh, living a life that Allah knows is reality, like the mujahideen who were killed fi sabilillah. As for death, he died, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Abu Bakr, when he became the Khalifa, there were a group of people who said, we're not going to give you the jizya anymore. Abu Bakr said, we're going to fight you. I'm in charge of the Muslims, our whole community is going to fight you. He went to Abu Bakr, he went to Umar, and the rest of the community said, those people in the desert, they said they believe in Allah, they believe in Salat, they believe in everything, but they're not going to give the zakat. We have to go and fight them. Umar said, how are we going to fight them? And they say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. And they make Salat. Oh, I'm not fighting them. They're Muslims. Their blood is sacred. You can't kill them. And all of the other companions said the same thing to Abu Bakr, although he was the most knowledgeable one from amongst them. And they knew that. He was the most knowledgeable. They said, we're not doing that. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu started to debate with them. And he said, didn't you people hear that the Nabi said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, umirtu an uqatil an-nasa hatta yashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu yaqimu as-salat wa yutu zakat. I've been commanded to fight the people till they say la ilaha illallah, until they make the salat and give the zakat. He said, wallahi, if they used to give the zakat to the Nabi, just some small portion they used to give to him, if they say they're going to give that to me, I'm going to fight them. And then the heart of Umar and the rest of the companions was open, and they said, yes, yes, the haqq is with Abu Bakr. Why didn't they just say, Abu Bakr is the best of the ummah? The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, follow Abu Bakr. Take my sunnah and the sunnah of the Khulafa al-Rashideen. Abu Bakr is at the top of the list. Everybody said, we're not dealing with that program, until Abu Bakr proved it. Another example of what the companions were on. They didn't know this Taqlid. They blindly followed the Mustafa al-Mukhtar sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That was it. Look what happened, ikhwan. In one of the wars that happened with the companions after the death of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam during the lifetime of Abu Bakr, many of the Qur'an who memorized the Qur'an were murdered. They were killed. Umar radiallahu anhu came to Abu Bakr. Pay attention to this. He said, hey, Amir al-Mu'mineen, if it keeps going the way it's going, every time we have a war, more and more memorizers of the Quran will be killed, until ultimately the Quran won't be here anymore, because it's in the hearts of the people to be gone. He said, we better do something about bringing this Quran together. Abu Bakr said, yes, it's a good idea. Let's go to Zayd ibn Thabit. He was young. 17 years old. 17 on that day. Abu Bakr and Umar went to him and said, hey, we want you to put this Quran together, because the Prophet made dua for you and you went and you learned the language of the Jews in 12 days. You memorized the Quran. You're intelligent. We want you to bring this Quran together. What did that 17-year-old boy do? He said, Wallahi, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. Because the Nabi never said that this was permissible. He said, I'm not putting the Quran together because the Nabi never told us to put the Quran there. Are you telling me to do something that the Nabi didn't tell us to do? Abu Bakr, Umar said, hold it. Didn't Allah say in the Quran, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابَ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ? It's a book. He said, yeah, he did say that. And they started reading those ayat that Allah described the Quran as a book. It wasn't a book as such. It was in their minds, in their hearts. Some people had it written down. He had it written down on some leather. He had it written down on a bone. He had it written down on a leaf. It wasn't a book as such. They started reading those ayat. Umar said, didn't the Nabi told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يسافر أحدكم إلى أرض العدو مع المصحف? None of you should travel to the land of the enemy carrying the mushaf. The mushaf. Where's the mushaf, Ya Zayd? Where's the mushaf? He said, wow, you're right. He said, at that point, my heart opened up and I embraced it. He said, and wallahi, if they had asked me to go and move Mount Uhud from there to there, moving Mount Uhud would have been easier. Like Umar earlier. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari gave him a hadith that Umar never heard. Umar said, I'm going to hit you with this stick. Those companions did not like people saying weak hadith. Those companions were not, people were easy with innovation in the religion. So again, the 17-year-old boy, radiallahu anhu, he wasn't afraid of Abu Bakr, although he knew that the Nabi said, Iqtadu billadayni min ba'di. Follow the two after me, Abu Bakr and Umar. And here they come. And they're talking to him. And he said, I'm not doing it. He knows he has to listen to the Amir, but not in what is in disobedience to Allah. When he thought bringing the Quran together was an innovation, he said, I'm not doing it. Because the companions didn't know this. Last issue, Ikhwani, because we have to make Salat al-Maghrib, is Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He traveled to some people and they wanted to know, what's the best hajj you can make? Our community is a community, if someone came and gave you a ticket and gave you a visa and said, go ahead, go and make hajj. You, my man, go make hajj, go make umrah. Here's the money, here's the ticket, go. You're going to stay in such and such hotel right in front of the Kaaba and the other one right in front of Medina. Go and make umrah, go and make hajj. Most people are not going to know what to do. Most Muslims are not going to know what to do. And it's one of the pillars of Islam. Hey, I'm a new Muslim. Show me how the Nabi prayed. He prayed in front of the people and he told the people, pray the way you just saw me praying. Tell the Muslim, come show me. People don't know how he prayed. Concerning this issue, they said to Ibn Abbas, what's the best type of hajj to make? The best type of hajj, he said, is a tamattu', where you make umrah and then you come out of your ihram and you're in Mecca. And then on the day when people make hajj, you put your ihram on again and then you make hajj. There's another hajj called al-Iqran, where you make umrah but you don't come out of your ihram. You make umrah and then you make hajj. And the last one is al-Ifrad, where you don't make umrah, you just go and you make hajj. That's it. It's the easiest one. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the best hajj is at tamattu', and he didn't make tamattu'. He didn't make a tamattu'. They said to Ibn Abbas, what's the best type of hajj? Based upon the Sunnah, he said a tamattu'. The people say, yeah, but Abu Bakr and Umar, they didn't say that. He said, what? I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving the city. You ask me something and I tell you that the Nabi said something and you tell me Abu Bakr and Umar? He said, I'm afraid that rocks are going to come from the sky and destroy you people. You ask me, what's the dalil? I tell you, Rasulullah said, and you tell me Abu Bakr and Umar? What do you think is the case with someone? He's asked a question, he gives the answer, Quran and Sunnah, and then the person says, yeah, but Tahir Qadri didn't say that. Tahir Qadri didn't say that. Or anybody else for that matter. So in concluding, Ikhwani, in concluding, is there any other proof clearer than the proof that those four imams themselves told the people, don't blindly follow us? And Imam Ahmed told his people, La tuqalliduni, don't follow me, and don't follow Awza'i, don't follow Malik. Take from where they took from. And Imam Shafi told the people, it's not permissible for you to blindly follow me. And Imam Abu Hanifa told the people, my madhab is the authentic hadith. If it's authentic, then that's my madhab. If it's authentic, if what I say goes against the Sunnah, then take my statements and reject it. Abu Yusuf, Yaqub was writing, and Imam Abu Hanifa was talking, and he was writing diligently. He said, Wayhak, Ya Yaqub, hey, Abu Yusuf, what are you doing? He said, I'm a human being. I say something today and I change my mind tomorrow. Meaning, I have an opinion about something today, and then the proof comes and I take the other position. Why are you writing everything that I write? That I have to say? Take it easy. All four of those imams said that. So in concluding, if you don't have the ability to figure something out, then follow someone who you respect. No problem. Follow. But if you have the ability to figure it out, and you can read this and you can read that, and you can cross-examine to the best of your ability, Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to ask you, Yawm al-Qiyamah, about Fulan and Fulan. He's going to ask you in your grave, who's your Lord? Who's your Lord? What's your religion? And what did you have to say about that man who came to you? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As for the one who said, my Imam said, my Imam did, on that day, Isa ibn Maryam and those Imams are going to free themselves from the people. And then the people follow the Imams in fiqh issues that are wrong. But when it comes to the Aqidah of the Imam Abu Hanifa never said that the Nabi was Hazir and Nazir. Never said that the Nabi never died. Never said that the Nabi was in every place. He said anyone who, Imam Abu Hanifa in his book Al-Fiqh Al-Akbar, said anyone who says that Allah is everywhere is a kafir. So the people follow them in fiqh. They don't follow them in Aqidah. The people follow them in fiqh issues that go along with them, in fiqh issues they don't like. Your daughter. Abu Hanifa says she doesn't need a wali. So if she runs off and goes to London and she gets married without your participation, you're going to say to her, what are you doing? If she said to you, the Madhabs said, you're not going to agree to that. It's going to be a problem. So let us return, inshallah, for those of us who are on that blind following issue, let us return to our senses and follow the Kitab and the Sunnah, and we use the positions and the statements and the books and the Madhahib as guiding lights to help to navigate ourselves. But we don't make them the goal and the objective in worshiping Allah Azza wa Jalla. For those of you who never were upon that stuff, maintain the course, learn knowledge about the deen, and don't go overboard. And don't describe people who are on madhabs, or people who blind follow and things that they don't have the ability to understand or comprehend. Don't describe them as being astray or innovators. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Yeah, after Maghrib, inshallah, we'll have a few minutes of question and answer, inshallah.
أخي جزاك الله خير. أحسن الله إليك.
The questions by writing, inshallah, there's pen and papers upstairs.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. النبي صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم يجوعنا. He used to make the sajda, and he used to ask Allah Ta'ala in his sajda, and he said that the closest a servant is to Allah is when he's in sajda. He used to say, Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub thabbit qalbi ala dinik. And it was a fact that he would never go astray. But he still nonetheless asked Allah Azza wa Jal to establish his heart on the deen, teaching us. The Nabi in his dua of al-qunut, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the witr, part of his dua in the beginning was, Rabbana Allahumma ihdini fi man ahdayt. Allahumma ihdini fi man hadayt. Allah, guide me from those who you have guided. He was never going to go astray. He was going to be guided. He was teaching us that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, show us the importance of everybody making dua. And Allah guides you to the correct way. Surah Al-Fatiha, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Many people read that ayah and believe that the Nabi is Hazir Nazir. Many people read that ayah and they curse the companions. Many people read that ayah and they believe that the Quran is not complete. When the Nabi used to wake up for Salat At Tahajjud, Qiyamul Layl, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he used to ask Allah when he woke up in the middle of the night to make Qiyamul Layl, Allahumma Rabba Jibreel wa Mika'il wa Israfil, Fatir as-samawati wal ard, Alim al-ghayb wa shahada, أنت تحكم بين عبادك فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون اهدني لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك إنك تهدي من تشاء ولا صراط مستقيم. Oh Allah, the Lord of Jibreel, Mikael, Israfil, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the knower of what is seen and what is unseen, you guide the people in those things that there's ikhtilaf about. So guide me in the issues of ikhtilaf, guide me to the right way. Verily, you guide whoever you want to guide to the Siratul Mustaqim. He said that whenever he woke up for Qiyamul Layl, in the dua of Al-Istiftah, after saying Allahu Akbar, he would say that dua, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the shahid and the point of all of that, ikhwani, is that no human being, if he's living, no human being can exist in this dunya walking around as if he's all that, without realizing you're da'if. Antum fuqara'u ila Allah. Everybody is weak and miskeen and in need of Allah Ta'ala's guidance. We think that we're guided right, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you have to humble yourselves. We have to humble ourselves and make dua to Allah to always guide us to issues where there's ikhtilaf. And in this issue of At Taqleed, just to recap, so that people understand what I'm saying. My wife will understand what I'm saying. People I came to this place in the car with will understand what I'm saying. I'm not here to put anybody down who wants to make Taqleed al-a'ma in everything. It's your issue. You're going to be raised in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla, it's going to deal with you. I'm not here to change your mind or to fight you or to put you down. I'm just here to present the scholastic way of understanding this issue, inshallah. That is, if a Muslim has the ability to recognize the truth, to appreciate the truth, to distinguish the truth, then he has to follow that truth. He has to follow it when it comes to him. And no matter who is in opposition to that truth, like Al-Imam Al-Awza'i said, he's one of the Imams of the Madhabs. And his Madhab was bigger and better than the other four Madhabs. His Madhab, Imam Al-Awza'i, his Madhab was just as big as the other Madhabs. He used to advise the Muslims, he used to say, be with the truth. Be with the truth. No matter who's with you on the truth. And don't become faint-hearted and afraid because only a few people are with you. And don't be like freaked out. Don't be amazed at the many numbers of people on something else. Many people on kufr, many people on Christianity, many people on Brahmanism or whatever. Don't look at it and say, oh, that's an indication it's the truth. Be on the truth. Even if it's by yourself, you're by yourself. The Jama'at, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, I told you. He said, the Jama'at is what is consistent with the truth, even if you're by yourself. Abu Bakr was the Jama'at on that particular day, and he was all by himself, and everybody else was against him. So, At Taqleed shouldn't be done in what the person has the ability to make his mind up. Take the truth, take the dalil, and allow me to be responsible to follow what he revealed in the Quran and what the Prophet brought in the Sunnah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what you don't have the ability to manage academically, scholastically, is too much for you, then you blindly follow someone. Someone comes with this issue about Islamic mortgages. Islamic mortgages is a big issue. And you want to fear Allah. You don't want to fall into a riba and so forth and so on. You sit down and you ask them, what's your opinion concerning that thing? And it's too much for you to grasp. You have to look for some scholar from the Sunnah, not some everyday Ahmad Bakr Zayd, some scholar from the Sunnah. You appreciate, you respect, and you trust his Islam. You know he's not taking advantage of you. You know he's not asking you for money. He's not misguiding you, and you blindly follow him in that thing. He say you can do it, and you don't know. You can blindly follow him in that issue. Now if you're playing around, and you just jumping from scholar to scholar, and you find something to say something that you want, then you're going to be held accountable for that. But if the issue, whatever the issue is, comes to you, that's just one of the issues. And I have to say this, because that's what I believe. I don't care who like it, who don't like it. Riba. The scholar told you that you trust. You tried to find out. It's too big for you. You don't understand. It's better for you to leave it. It's better for you to leave it. Leave what you doubt for what you don't doubt. But you got a serious situation. You got kids and stuff like that. You trying to make the right decision, intelligent decision. This scholar is on the Sunnah. You asked him, and he gave you his opinion. And you can't judge it. You can blindly follow that man. And the Nabi says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he'll be responsible for carrying the weight of that decision. He'll be responsible. As for the one who has the ability to judge something and he can't, and he chooses to follow the Imam, and the Imam is clearly wrong, then that's a problem. And lastly, don't be of the mutaqallibin. I told you, the munafiq, the munafiqeen. Allah Ta'ala described them as mudhabdhabin. Mudhabdhabin bayna dhalika, la ilaha ulai wa la ilaha ulai. The dhubab is the fly. The fly is called a dhubab because it's all over the place. The verb tadhabdhaba, it means a person who's bouncing all over the place. The munafiq, sometimes he's with the Muslims because it's benefit. Sometimes with the kuffar it's benefit. He doesn't care about them, he doesn't care about them. He just wants to go where there is benefit. Don't make that your religion. Don't be mutadhabdhab. You just go everywhere, the thing is just turning you and this like that. Don't be like the munafiqeen. Be like the people who have a minhaj in how you make decisions and how you arrive at conclusions. So with that, inshallah ta'ala, we'll open up the door about the tadabdab. The point that I wanted to make is in every madhab, there is what is correct and there is what is incorrect. And if you tell a person you must follow the madhab, you must, you're telling the person you got to follow what's wrong. Because in every madhab is right and wrong. Because every human being makes mistakes. So you can't say that to someone. And then you have the people, as I mentioned earlier, in the Hanafi madhab. In the Hanafi madhab, your wife, your mother, your sister, the gold that she wears, the gold that she wears. And Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah was of the opinion every Ramadan she has to pay zakat on that gold. Every Ramadan. As long as she has that gold, she has to keep paying zakat. And Imam Ahmed wasn't on that opinion. And Imam Shafi wasn't on that opinion. They said if it's her goal of wearing and beautification, she doesn't have to pay. But if she has gold saved up and his money and stuff, she has to pay. But the gold that she wears, she doesn't have to pay. So the person says, I know I'm Hanafi, but I'm going to take the other madhab in this. Because I don't want to pay every Ramadan. Don't be like that. If your daughter runs off and she gets married without you being the wali, what are you going crazy for? That was Imam Abu Hanifa's position. Although his two students, Hamid ibn Hasan al-Shaybani and Abu Yusuf, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een, all of them, the two of them, went against Imam Abu Hanifa in a third of the madhab. A third. They rejected a third of what he said. They didn't follow him in all of those other issues because they learned from Imam al-Shafi, because they learned from Imam Ahmed, because they learned from other ulama from al-Hadith and the fuqaha of their time. So if you brothers have any questions, inshallah ta'ala, we'll answer your questions. Fadli ya akhi.
Can you please explain at what point and how it became imposed on the people who have to ascribe to a particular madhab? Because they say that if you don't follow one of these madhabs, then your imam is shaitan.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a very technical question, a scholastic question that requires a scholastic answer. When did this issue of imposing and enforcing people to take a madhab, when did that come into existence? It wasn't there during the time of the companions, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. It wasn't there during the time of the tabi'een. And it wasn't there until the latter part of the followers of the tabi'een, then the people after them, when they found that they were ulama, great scholars, the students started to write down their positions and their statements. And 4 of the madhabs remained, and many of the other ones left. But as I told you, ikhwani, there were scholars who had madhabs who were better or just as good as the 4 madhabs. Imam Ishaq ibn Ibrahim Rahuwiya, his madhab is better than those 4 madhabs. It's better than those 4 madhabs, as they said themselves. Imam Sa'd ibn Layth had a madhab. Layth ibn Sa'd al-Awza'i had a madhab. Ibn Hazm, the Zahiri madhab. They have a madhab that's just as good as the other one, although we make some statements that are blameworthy. But there's a history as to why the 4 became the 4. Some of the other imams didn't allow people to write down. Tell them, erase everything. I don't want you writing down what I say. So, to answer that question with precision, I would advise you, and I don't even know if this book is still in print, but it's one of the books that our Sheikh Bilal Phillips wrote, that I have hasid against him. I have the positive Islamic jealousy. I wish I would have wrote that book before him. The Evolution of Fiqh, of the Madhahib. That book is in English. I think it went out of print. I don't know. But that book, when we were growing up on the Sunnah, that was a very useful book. Academic, scholastic, and informative. And in that book, he'll give you in English the historical reasons, the political reasons that transpired, that killed off all of the other madhahib and saved the ones that are there today. So you guys should try to find that book if you can find that book. But the answer is very precise. Generally speaking, there were some positive reasons and negative reasons why these 4 madhabs remained and other ones didn't remain. Sometimes the leader used to give money if you memorize the particular madhab. They would give money so people memorize. Other scholars said, no, I don't want you to memorize my madhab. But it started happening in the end of the 3rd century and the 4th century that these madhabs became mudawwana, where the people wrote them down what to do. Other thing, before we take the brother Muhabbur Rahman's question, inshallah, ikhwati fillah, if there was a scholar of a madhab, Hanafi madhab, in Haid, and he was a serious scholar, like Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi, Aqidat al-Tahawiyah, he was Hanafi. Imam Ali al-Qari, a scholar like that of the Hanafi madhab, wallahi, I will come from Birmingham and come here whenever I can to learn from him. Because the madhab is nothing but a systematic way of getting to the truth. The madhab, all of the madhab, is a systematic way of taking steps to arrive at the truth. I'm going to take the Quran, I'm going to take the Sunnah, and I'm going to take the Ijma', and I'm going to take the Qiyas, I'm going to take the Qawl Sahabi, then I'm going to take the action of the people of Medina, then I'm going to take Istihsan, then I'm going to take the Al-Mursal Al-Mursala, and the scholars of those madhab had differences of what to put first and so forth and so on. It's just a systematic way. Now if you take a madhab, take the madhab as a systematic way. But whenever the madhab is wrong, just put it to the side in that issue. That's all. That's all. So don't go overboard. Brothers who are trying to be on the Sunnah and try to be Salafi, of Al-Hadith, and you should be. You should do. But don't go overboard. If you have a madhab, that's an innovation. Okay, Ibn Taymiyyah is a muqtadi. Ibn Rajab was a muqtadi. Ibn Kathir was a muqtadi. Those great scholars. And Imam Ibn Kathir was a student of Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah is Hanbali, and Ibn Kathir is Shafi'i. He didn't force that on him, and he didn't force nothing on them. They just did it in a systematic way. And Allah is A'la and A'la. Ahi Muhabbur Rahman.
We had a lecture recently in one of our masjid locally, and one of the scholars that came, he was telling the people openly that you should, and it's from Islam, and Allah commands you to call upon the dead awliya for help when you're in trouble. And it was endorsed by the local imam as well. And when we approach the people and say, look, this is against the Quran and Sunnah, they say what you said before. Do you have the ability to know? Because you don't know Arabic, you don't have knowledge of the usul of the deen. So they are bigger scholars than you, so you should do this. So where do we go?
As I told you, brothers, already, there are just too many examples from the life of the companions May Allah be pleased with all of them, that go to show that no one has all of the answers. There are things that people are not aware of, again, because all of the Sunnah has not passed. All of the Sunnah has not found itself inculcated and grasped by one individual. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, after the death of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was approached by the grandmother of a deceased person. The grandmother of the deceased approached him and said, I want my miraf, I want my money. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in Surah An-Nisa, everyone who gets money. Abu Bakr memorized the Quran, and the grandmother is not in there. Abu Bakr said, I don't know anywhere in the Quran or the Sunnah where the grandmother gets anything. I'm not giving you anything. Someone came and said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the grandmother a sudus, gave her a sixth of the inheritance. Other people were around living and they shared, so the grandmother got a sixth. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he submitted because someone brought him the dalil. Someone brought him the dalil. That's how the companions were. You all heard about that incident of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu telling the people, anyone who gives a woman more than the dowry that the Prophet gave his wife sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa radiyallahu anhunna, anyone who gives more than that, I'm going to take what the Prophet gave his wives and give it to your wife, and the rest I'm going to give it in the Baytul Ma'al. The Baytul Ma'al. Because the Muslims were traveling, they were conquering people, they were getting a lot of money, so they would give the girl 100,000 dinar, 200,000 dinar, and he felt that was a waste of money. This lady is not like the wives of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, if anybody gives more than what the Nabi gave, I'm going to take from it and give her what the Nabi gave his wife, and take the rest and put a Baytul Mal. The lady came and said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar, who deserves to be listened to more, you or Allah? You or Allah? Should we listen to you, Sheikh? Or should we listen to Allah? He said, Allah, of course. The lady read the ayah of the Quran, again, Surah An-Nisa. وَإِنْ أَتَيْتُمْ إِحْدَاهُنَّ قِنْطَارًا. What's the beginning of the ayah? وَإِنْ أَتَيْتُمْ إِحْدَاهُنَّ قِنْطَارًا فَلَا تَأْخُذُوا مِنْهُ شَيْئًا. If you, when أردتم استبدال زوج مكان زوج وأتيتم إحداهن قنطارا فلا تأخذوا منه شيئا. If you want to marry a lady and you give her a whole treasure for the dowry, a lot of money, if you give it to her, and you want to divorce her, don't take any of that treasure back. That's her money. So the lady said, in this ayah it goes to show the man can give the lady a treasure. Umar radiallahu anhu, in this narration said, the lady spoke the truth and Umar was wrong. Some of the ulama of al-hadith said this hadith has some problems in it, this athar, some of them accept it. So the point here is, the lady, she doesn't know what Umar knows. She doesn't know the knowledge of Umar. لو كان نبي بعدي لكان عمر. If there was a Nabi after me, it would have been Umar radiallahu anhu. Would have been Umar. But the lady had the dalil, and the dalil wasn't with Umar radiallahu anhu, and he relaxed. So our religion, ikhwani, is not, you don't know. And I believe that people say this because they don't have anywhere to go, so they just say it. But there's a flip side to that we have to mention, we have to be careful about. And again, this is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. The flip side of that is, one of us thinking too much of yourself. Everybody here is minuscule in knowledge. Everybody here. We're minuscule in knowledge. We don't have a lot of knowledge. So you can't get up and start giving fatwas. So-and-so's mubtadi', so-and-so jahr wa ta'deel, so-and-so's this, that. No, it's two extremes. And Nabi said to the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, verily, in the desert there is a tree that resembles the Muslim, the mu'min. Do you know what the tree it is? The elder Sahabas, the ulama started saying, it's that tree, it's that tree, it's this tree, it's that, and they were getting it wrong. Ibn Umar was young and he was looking, he was young. He said, when I saw everybody was getting it wrong, I was shy. I didn't say anything. I thought it was the date palm tree. But when I saw the ulama, the companions, not saying anything, I didn't say anything. So the Nabi, when no one got it, he said, it's the date palm tree. He left. Ibn Umar said to his father, Umar, Ya Abi, I had said it was the date palm tree, but when I looked around and I saw you quiet and Abu Bakr were quiet and other people were getting it wrong, I was shy, so I didn't even say anything. Umar said, if you would have said it, it would have made me more happier than the red camel, that my son knows the answer. So why did Abdullah bin Umar, why did he hold back? Why did he hold back? Because he looked at the ulama. He didn't do what the people do today. Some of these crazy people, some of these people who go beyond their level. Anwar al-Awlaki. Anwar al-Awlaki. If we have knowledge, ikhwani, then we talk with knowledge. You don't have knowledge, you don't talk. Some people will say, Anwar al-Awlaki is from the Khawarij. Yeah, he may be from the Khawarij, he may not be from the Khawarij, but that's not for you to give that ruling. It's not for you to give that ruling. It's not for you, it's not for you, it's not for me. It's for the scholar to give that ruling. He did make some statements that the Khawarij make, but that doesn't mean he's from the Khawarij. A person makes a statement of shirk, doesn't mean he's a mushrik. A person makes a statement and action of innovation, doesn't mean he's an innovator. So if he's from the Khawarij, it has rules and regulations that's going to come as a result of that. And that's for the ulama to talk, not for the regular people. So we have these two extremes. The one extreme of the people who, the sheikh said, the sheikh said, the sheikh said, are you better than the sheikh? And everybody suffer from that. Even Salafi people suffer from that. Then the other extreme is the person who puts his foot in the arena, that Umar, if this issue was presented to Umar, he would have said, hold on, let me gather up the people who participated in Badr. And once he gathered them together, he would say, what's your position? He would say, next, 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 until it went all the way around the circle again. But the people today, the way we are, we have to feel validated. Here I am, listen to me. So what the people are saying is incorrect, because the Quran and the Sunnah pushes it away, and this is the type of taqleed that is haram. This is the type of taqleed that is haram. You have the ability to see the Quran and to see the Sunnah. What was the issue they said?
Calling upon the dead awliya for help if you're in trouble.
Aywa. So Allah Ta'ala has clearly established in ayat upon ayat upon ayat that you can't call on anyone other than Allah. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has established hadith upon hadith upon hadith. You can't call on anyone other than Allah. Then the person comes and says, the Imam must know, the Sheikh must know. This is from the Taqlid, that's not permissible. Especially for people like you guys. Our parents and our grandparents coming from near poor, they couldn't read and they couldn't write. They couldn't read and write. They were ummiyun. They were illiterate. You people can read, people can write, the internet. Allah Ta'ala mentioned to those people about who the Nabi was. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. If it is said to them, follow what Allah revealed, they say, no, we're going to follow what we found our fathers doing. Although their fathers didn't have any aql, and they weren't guided right, they couldn't even read and write. So sometimes when you're ignorant, people can take advantage of you easily. Got magic on you? He comes to the sheikh. The sheikh says to him, got magic? Okay. You have to get 5 kangaroo heads. You got to get 6 tails of 6 pregnant female rats. And you have to dig a hole 7.5 inches. Mix each head and tail together and then bury it. And about 4 inches, you have to put 7 dead spiders of this species 4 feet high. And the guy says, but Mulvi Sabi, I don't know where I'm going to get kangaroo heads from and where I'm going to get the pregnant rat from. He said, look, don't worry, just give me 500 pounds, I'll get it for you. And the person said, okay, Mulvi Sabi, okay. Because his mind, he wants to get out of his problem, he's ignorant. But the person like us, who've grown up, the Mulvi Sabi, our parents, the Mulvi Sabi's son becomes the Mulvi, and his son becomes we're going to say, Why he gotta be the next Mulvi? Why I can't be the Mulvi? Who, naturally, because of the society, we're gonna say, why is he the Mulvis, the son of the Mulvi? Why I can't be the Mulvi? Our parents didn't ask those questions. Just when we do the khatam, when they do the khatam, they do the yarmi, they do the mawlid and that, they just say, Mulvi, come, bless the food, do the. No, we have some education. So just be in the middle. Be in the middle. Now, anyone, and I'm not against the Mulvi Sahib. There are some Mulvi Sahibs who are, mashallah, awliya of Allah, ulama, ahlul hadith, people of the Sunnah. I'm talking about the local Mulvi Sahibs. These people who our kids can't relate to them. They don't know. These people don't know this religion. Nor do they know what our kids are being confronted with today. The young boy came to the Nabi in front of all the people, say, Ya Rasulullah, give me permission to make zina. Because he was young, he was filming his Cheerios, he wanted to make zina. The people looked at him and said, what's wrong with you? You're crazy saying that in public? The boy wasn't trying to hear that. He's a youngster. So, yeah, so give me it. He said, come here. You want the people to do that to your mother? No. People too, they got mother. You want to do that to your sister? No, I wouldn't be that. You want the people to do that to your auntie? No, I wouldn't be that. The people don't want that to their sister. He took him and he made dua, and the thing went away. And then he helped the young man like that. He knew what he was going through. He knows the nature of the young man. Now the young boy today, 16, 17, he's smoking crack. He's smoking weed. He wants to make tawbah. He have a girlfriend. He can't go to the Mulvi Sahib, say, Mulvi Sahib, I'm smoking weed. What can I? Because the Mulvi Sahib's going to rat him out. Going to rat him out? Tell us what? You smoking weed? Call his mother's father. You know your kid is smoking weed, right? You know he has a boyfriend, girlfriend. So I'm not against the Mulvi Sahib. I'm against the Mulvi Sahib who's against us, teaching us shirk and kufr and take advantage of us. That's the one I'm against. Aywa, any more questions, Ikhwani? That's it. I just want you guys to meet my son-in-law right here. My son-in-law, this is my son right here, man, face him. And my daughter, my wife is on the other side, over there. So I hope the sisters take care of both of them, inshallah. And please forgive me for being late because it was my wife's fault. So I'm sorry about that, right? Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.